Hello, hello, guys, gals, and fellow MB pals. I actually was going to make a video talking about how Dogpack officially has fucked up the entire Mr. Beast investigation thing, and how right after he directly fucked up by essentially naming Jimmy's cousin James Warren in a bunch of things that he did not do. He then went on a very softball interview with Oompaville. No offense to Oompaville, I love that man. I love when he screams and agitates his funny looking little dogs. But he's not really the one to ask real questions and stuff like that, right? Not like, again, no shade on Oompaville, but he's just not the guy, right? And yeah, I came across a video from D'Angelo Wallace that said, what was the title? Hold on. It's actually like I'm actually re-recording this video because I feel like I missed some important points in the first one. So I wanted to redo this and really hit home on some different points, right? Where's the video? It says, "Does anyone else feel like they'll never be happy?" That's what the video is called. And I came across that video this morning. And honestly, when I first saw the title, like my heart like honestly sank. Like it literally like touched my fucking toes. And I was just like, oh my God, please. Like I honestly became like very like almost terrified in that moment just reading that title. But after watching it and really hearing what he had to say and really understanding from my own standpoint of having dealt with depression, it just it honestly wound up being a much more positive experience, and I'm very glad that he made this video. It's the same as when a couple weeks ago Pyrocynical made a video about having to put his dog to sleep, and how like it really made him feel, made him think, and like sit back and really just like reassess his life a little bit, and seeing that video from D'Angelo and how he talked about like just the way he struggled his entire life with depression, how he remembers being like a toddler, like 4, and thinking like, oh, I'll get this and then I'll be happy. And then, he thought about when he was 11, like, oh, I'll get this and then I'll be happy. And then he was 18 and then he thought, oh, I'll get this and then I'll be happy. And then to 21, and now that he's 26 and able to reflect on all of that throughout his life, how it's really like not how it's all affected him, but how he really came to the realization that certain things and getting those achievements are not going to necessarily make you happy, and they aren't going to necessarily fix you. But at the same time, you're not broken to begin with, you know? Like, that honestly is incredibly powerful. And I have nothing but strong hand claps for him, because like holy shit, to be able to honestly reach that realization, like you have to go through it. You have to go through those hard days where you don't want to get out of bed and you don't feel like doing anything and you just want to cry and scream and stay in under the covers and not do shit, right? Like it takes you getting through those times to be able to realize there may be nothing that all in all makes me overall happy permanently, but at least I still have good moments, right? I still have good friends. I still have my family who are there with me and are helping me when they can, And I just think that that's honestly a really beautiful thing that he's able to. I just think it's a really beautiful thing that he's able to come to the conclusion of like, hey, I may not be getting better. I may not be feeling better, but at least I'm able to enjoy what I'm doing in the moment. And even if I lost this thing, even if I lost the YouTube success and stuff like that, even if I didn't have this, I'll still be okay. Like I've been able to grow and not necessarily I mean, even though he may not feel that he changed, or maybe he does, I might be misremembering. I'm very sorry if I am. Like there honestly is a lot of growth and change there because you were able to live through those bad days. And even he says, like, despite me not necessarily feeling the way that I want to feel, I've still made it through as 100% a success. I've gotten through each day, whether that day be good or bad. I've gotten my degree. I've gotten, my play buttons and stuff like that. I've become maybe somebody I didn't think I would become. And it's very important. It's very important that people are able to really realize these things, that it's not always going to be easy, that once you get one thing doesn't mean, that's just your peak. You're always going to be continuously growing and learning and experiencing things and putting it all together in your mind. And honestly, really, once you hit 25 and your body finally you hit adulthood, right? You really don't hit adulthood until 25. Once you really hit that point and hit the stage where you start to really mature and incorporate experiences and things like that, that's when you really realize just just how gosh, what am I trying to say? Like I think it really just becomes apparent that you can make it. And like I understand because like I'm 31, right? I'll be 32 in December. And like I definitely understand, like even with the situation that I'm going through personally, like before I even got here to, like living in my car, like I had already been at a point where I felt like I had beaten my depression. And like I wasn't born with depression. Like I've always been pretty much a happy-go-lucky person, and I've liked spending a lot of my time alone. I'm very much a homebody. Like I like being by myself, reading books, maybe being with my pets. Or I mean, now that I have kids and they're older, it's just like sometimes I like just having them hang out while I play video games or like talking about their days at school and stuff like that. And even to an extent, like that definitely was hard, like right now, like being away from them, because I'm just like, man, I wonder what they're doing. I hope they're happy. I hope they're safe. That's pretty much just like the biggest thing for me, because I'm like I didn't like motherhood at first, but I became a mom at 16. And a lot of my family, I can for sure say that they pressured me into it. My mom was like, she was just like, oh, you don't want to kill a baby and all that stuff, because she's like, she's not really Christian. Like she goes to church and she thumps the Bible and all that kind of stuff, but she's not really Christian. My mom is one of the biggest fucking hypocrites I've ever met in my life. It's so insane. And a lot of my family, when they found out I was pregnant, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna help you. We're gonna be there for you," and all this other stuff. And not once did any of them really do that. Like all of their help, all of their support was hinged based on whether or not I was doing what it was that they wanted, right? And that kind of shit really stuck with me even when I got older, even when me and my ex got together and we moved out on our own for the first time. And we were going to work and taking care of our kids. And then when I was pregnant with our my second daughter, Michaela, and she wound up passing away. And it was hard because it was like I didn't really have I couldn't talk to my mom about it because she had never really been there to support me before. Why would I believe you were going to support me now, right? Like it wasn't like I could talk to my dad about it. My dad doesn't give a shit about any of his kids. He just keeps popping them out and trying to hide it from the rest of his family, pretending like he's such a good person. He's he's his own thing. I've already let that go and just decided God's gonna deal with him in whatever way he deals with him, right? Like my parents are honestly like it's terrible to say that it's like out of like all the people that I've ever known and met in my life, the worst ones at the top of the list are like my parents, my siblings, and mostly just family members. Like a lot of my family members are just a lot of the worst people I've ever met. And that's kind of saying something considering how awful a lot of people are. But like even as I got older, like I still held on to that hope a little bit that I could do things that would like like make my parents love me or make them proud of me. But it honestly it didn't matter in the end, which is why like I finally came to the conclusion that I do hate my birth name. I hated that shit for like I remember being like 6 and asking my mom why did it have to be this, and she was just like, oh, because your dad wanted it to start with this letter. And I was just like, that's it? And she was like, yeah, because otherwise your name would have been this. And it's like that's the same name but with different letters. And it really just like sat with me that my parents didn't have kids because they loved each other. They didn't pick names because this was a name that they liked. Like it was because it had to meet this quota, right? And so when I finally made the decision that I am changing my name to Rain, like I was just like, it's because I like Rain. And not even to be funny, like Rain is a character from a game that I actually like, that I to an extent respect as much as I can for like a fictional character. Shout out Tales of Symphonia, one of the games of all time. And one that I really related to, who had parents that simply cared about her and her brother and wanted them to stay safe. And if you know the story of Tales of Symphonia, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's like her as a child going through a traumatic event, being separated from her parents. In that moment, she didn't understand and like started to hate her parents. But it was something that was done to keep her safe. And all in all, she kind of had a better life for it, right? Well, I mean, my parents weren't like that. My parents didn't give a fuck on whether or not I thrived or not. They wanted me to do what they wanted and do what they said, and that was pretty much it. And it didn't matter whether I was happy or not because they weren't happy. If they weren't happy, why do you get to be happy, right? Like that's pretty much been my experience with my family, with my parents, with my siblings, with friends. It's like I'm not happy, so why do you get to be happy, right? And it's scary. It's scary that people get like that they act like that, and there's not a lot that you can do about it. Like as far as I'm concerned, because I've tried to be, I've hung around with people that I knew were honestly just pieces of shit because I felt that me trying to be a positive person or be a positive influence would help them to suck less, but it doesn't. You just wind up being a beacon that just keeps getting sucked deeper and deeper and deeper into the muck, right? And it's only when those people decide that they want to do better, that they want to be better, that they don't want to be like this, that they don't want to live like this, that they don't want these things, will they actually change. And that's not even, it's not even guaranteed that they're going to change, right? And so that's a big reason of why that I've like pretty much just stopped asking for help. I've stopped looking towards my family, stopped looking towards friends and things like that, and just been like, you know what, it's just something that I have to do on my own because I want this change. I want to be happy. And like even in like the situation I'm in, yeah, I'm in a place where I have to be humble and I may not be exactly where I want to be, but I have a plan of where I want to get to. I have things that I want. I have goals and stuff like that. And it's like I can't I can't continue to hinge my happiness on other people. You know, I can only hinge my happiness on myself and what I can do and what I can accomplish. And that's pretty much just it. I can't keep waiting for other people to make me happy, right? Like, so that's pretty much just how I've decided to do things. Because, like, after me and my ex broke up, like, I wasn't looking to date. I didn't really care about dating. I didn't really care about anybody as far as like romantically in my vicinity. And even when I did decide to give my time to someone who I liked, I thought I could trust. I thought I could, rely on this person to be someone. And it turns out that, no. Even that person wasn't. They were a waste of my time. There were a essentially, and I mean, throughout the time where we were actually together, I'm pretty sure this motherfucker would have never spoken to me outwardly, like towards anyone in public. I'm pretty sure I was just a booty call to them, and that's perfectly fine, because it's like at the end of the day, like I didn't really tell people about you either because I wasn't sure about you. But I mean, eventually, once I was like, even when I felt sure, like it still wound up amounting to nothing really, because once I felt sure that this is the decision that I want to make regarding this relationship, it like their behavior immediately was like a 180, was like no longer responding to my texts, wanting to string me along, didn't want to like respond to my feelings and things like that. And I said, you know what, this is what I get for putting my faith and putting my happiness into someone else and relying on that, like not relying on that person to make me happy, because it literally took me like it took me having a conversation with myself one night that if they can't respond to my feelings, I'm just going to block them and pretend like they never existed. And then they did exactly what I thought they would, and then I blocked them and I pretended like they've never existed. And honestly, it's been pretty awesome because I have my peace back. I have my clear state of mind back. Not that I lost it or anything like that, because it's like I gave them as much as they gave me, right? Like just because I'm able to share my feelings and be open with you, be honest with you, like that at the end of the day, like that can mean nothing. I can block you and move on with my life and I won't think about you. I won't care. Like there are so many people who in my life that I have given like, and I mean like in a romantic sense, like I've given them my time, and it's like they take it and throw it back in my face as if it means nothing. But then they'll come crawling back in the worst kind of way, talking about oh how they regret this and they regret that and all that. And it's like why even say it? Why even have regrets? Why pretend like you care? You know? Like why do it? Because in that moment, this is the decision that you wanted to make. It didn't my how you treated me did not matter because you were happy making that decision. So why are you coming to me later and saying, "Oh, I feel bad. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, okay, what's the difference now?" You know? What's the difference between now and then where you treating me poorly made you happy? Like I don't understand. I don't understand what there is to have regrets about. And gosh, this has gotten way off topic, but that's okay. But yeah, it all in all, I'm glad that D'Angelo really spoke up about this and really spoke up about how, he thought things like getting these things and getting achievements and stuff like that would have made him happy, and it wound up not doing that at all. And all in all, that's okay. It's okay to understand and realize that, nothing may make you happy, but you still have good moments and good times, and you have family that care about you, and you have friends that care about you, and like, there are things that you can be happy with or satisfied with, even if you overall as a person are not happy. It doesn't make you broken, it doesn't make you less than, it just makes you. It just helps you to understand who you are as a person. And I think honestly, at the end of the day, that's fantastic. I think that is a net positive. I think that's fucking huge. And it really is amazing that he was able to come to that conclusion, because I'm sure we all know someone that did not get to come to that conclusion. They either took themselves out, or, you know, however things turned out, or maybe they just never realized and they're still living in that cycle of misery. You never really know. But all in all, I think his visit his visito. All in all, I think his video is a net positive. I think it's huge. I think it's great that he made that video, and I hope more people are able to come to that same conclusion and are able to make something of themselves and do something for themselves that really does make them happy, even if it doesn't make them happy, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much all that I wanted to say, even though it wound up being like 20 minutes of me just straight up fucking yapping. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you cared about anything that I have to say, you'd like to hear more, y'all know how the YouTube stuff goes. Like and sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one.